In a quiet village surrounded by tall palm trees and dusty red roads, there lived a boy named Tunde. Tunde was not like the other children. While others ran barefoot, chasing tires and laughing loudly under the hot sun, Tunde often sat alone beneath an old mango tree at the edge of the village, thinking. No one really knew what he thought about, and truthfully, no one cared to ask. Because in that village, people had already decided who Tunde was. A dreamer, they would say. A lazy boy, others whispered. Someone who will never amount to anything. Even his own father had stopped expecting much from him. Sometimes, the world gives you a name before you even discover who you are. Tunde's father, Babasola, was a strict man, a farmer who believed only in hard work and visible results. To him, thinking was useless. If your hands are not working, your life is not working, he would shout. And so, every morning before the sun even rose, Tunde was sent to the farm. But even there, Tunde was different. While others planted quickly and moved on, Tunde would pause, observing the soil, the wind, the insects. He noticed things no one else noticed. How some crops grew better in certain spots. How water flowed differently depending on the slope. How some seeds failed, not because they were bad, but because they were planted wrong. But whenever he tried to speak, "Stop wasting time," his father would yell. Not everyone who looks slow is lazy. Some people are observing what others are too busy to see. One day, something happened that changed everything. A wealthy trader passed through the village. His name was Chief Adewal, and he was known across many towns for his success. He owned farms, shops, and even trucks that transported goods across cities. The villagers gathered around him in admiration. But Tunde didn't join them. Instead, he sat under his mango tree, watching. Chief Adewal noticed. Out of all the people trying to impress him, only one boy was not seeking attention. So he walked over. "Why are you sitting here alone?" the chief asked. Tunde looked up slowly. "I'm watching," he replied. The chief smiled slightly. "Watching what?" "Everything," Tunde said. "The people, the way they speak to you, the way they respect wealth, the way they ignore what matters." The chief raised an eyebrow. "And what matters?" he asked. Tunde pointed toward the farmland in the distance. "That land can produce twice as much food, but nobody sees it." Now the chief was interested. "Why do you say that?" Tunde stood up and began explaining. He spoke about soil patterns, water flow, planting timing, spacing, things no one had ever explained in such detail before. For a moment, even the wind seemed to stop. When Tunde finished speaking, there was silence. The chief looked at him deeply. "How old are you?" he asked. 15, Tunde replied. "And who taught you all this?" Tunde hesitated. "No one," he said softly. "I just pay attention. Your greatest teacher can be your ability to observe, if you are willing to be patient." Chief Adewal turned and looked at the villagers. "Do you know what you have here?" he asked loudly. They all nodded eagerly, expecting praise, but instead, he pointed at Tunde. "You have a mind that can change your entire future, and you are ignoring it." The villagers murmured. Babasola stepped forward, embarrassed. "He is just a boy," he said quickly. "He likes to talk too much." But the chief shook his head. "No, he thinks too much, and that is rare." That evening, something unexpected happened. Chief Adewale came to Tunde's home. He sat with Babasola and made an offer. "I want to take your son with me to the city," he said. "I will educate him, train him, give him opportunities." The room went silent. Tunde's heart began to race. This was the moment that could change everything. But his father's face hardened. "No," Babasola said. Tunde's heart dropped. "He belongs here," his father continued. he must learn to work, not to dream. Sometimes, the biggest obstacle to your future is the fear of those who raised you. Tunde said nothing. He simply looked down. For the first time, doubt entered his heart. Maybe they were right. Maybe he really was just a dreamer. Maybe thinking was useless. Maybe he should stop. When doubt comes from the people you love, it hurts deeper, but it should not define you. But as the chief stood up to leave, he said something that would stay with Tunde forever. If you stay here, you may survive, he said. But if you leave, you might discover who you truly are. Then he walked away. That night, Tunde could not sleep. The wind whispered through the trees. The village was quiet, but inside him, a storm was raging. Should he obey his father or follow a path no one believed in? As the first light of dawn touched the sky, Tunde made a decision that would either break his life or build a future no one in the village could imagine. The first light of dawn crept slowly across the village. Tunde stood outside his father's hut, holding nothing but a small worn bag. Inside the bag were just a few clothes and a piece of dried bread his mother had quietly given him in the night. She hadn't said much, only this: sometimes the mother must be strong enough to let her child go find himself. Tunde looked back at the house one last time. His father was awake, standing at the doorway, watching. Their eyes met. No words were spoken. But in that silence, there was anger, fear, and something else. Pride, hidden, but there. Not all support comes with encouragement. Sometimes it comes disguised as silence. Without another moment, Tunde turned and began to walk, step by step, away from everything he had ever known. The road to the city was long, dusty, endless. Tunde walked for hours, sometimes catching rides from strangers, sometimes simply following the path wherever it led. The world outside the village felt different, louder, faster, unforgiving. By the time he reached the city, night had already fallen. Bright lights filled the streets. Cars moved like rushing rivers. People walked quickly, each one chasing something invisible. Tunde stood still, overwhelmed. The city does not slow down just because you are not ready. He didn't know where to go. He didn't know who to trust. And for the first time since leaving home, fear truly entered his heart. Tunde remembered the address Chief Adewale had given him. But the city was too big, too confusing. After hours of asking around, he still hadn't found it. His feet ached, his stomach growled, and slowly, hope began to fade. Just then, a man approached him. Well, you look lost, the man said with a smirk. Tunde hesitated. I'm looking for someone, he replied carefully. Of course you are, the man laughed. Everyone here is looking for something. The man offered to help, but something didn't feel right. His smile was too quick, his eyes too sharp. Tunde remembered his mother's words. Not everyone who offers help means well. So he shook his head. No thank you, he said, and walked away. Discernment can save your future. Not every opportunity is a blessing. That decision saved him, because just a few steps ahead, an older woman who had been watching everything called out to him. Young boy, she said gently, come here. Tunde approached cautiously. You did well not to follow that man, she said. He has misled many like you. Tunde swallowed. Thank you, he whispered. The woman smiled. Where are you going? When Tunde explained, her eyes widened slightly. Ah, I know that name, she said. You are not far. The woman, Mama Ngozi, offered Tunde a place to rest for the night. Her home was small, but warm. Simple, but safe. She gave him food. Real food. Hot, Fresh. For the first time since leaving home, Tunde felt human again. Sometimes when the world feels cold, kindness from a stranger can feel like a miracle. That night, as he lay on a thin mat staring at the ceiling, Tunde thought deeply about his father, about the village, about the chief's words, and about the path ahead. The next morning, Mama Ngozi showed him the way. When Tunde finally stood in front of Chief Adewale's large compound, his heart pounded. This was it. He knocked. A gatekeeper opened. "Yes," the man asked coldly. I came to see Chief Adewale," Tunde said. The man looked him up and down. "You?" He laughed. "Do you have an appointment?" Tunde shook his head. "I was invited." The gatekeeper scoffed. "Everyone says that." And just like that, the gate was shut in his face. Reality does not always match expectation, even when the opportunity is real. Tunde stood there, confused, embarrassed, heartbroken. Had he made a mistake? Had he misunderstood everything? Hours passed. The sun rose higher. People came and went. No one paid attention to him. Hunger returned. Doubt returned. And slowly, tears filled his eyes. For the first time, Tunde almost gave up. The moment you feel like giving up is often the moment your test truly begins. But just as he turned to leave, a familiar voice called out, "What are you doing here?" Tunde froze. He turned. It was Chief Adewale, standing right there. The chief looked surprised. "You came?" he said. Tunde nodded. "But they wouldn't let me in," he added quietly. The chief frowned and turned to the gatekeeper. "This boy is my guest," he said firmly. Everything changed instantly. The gate opened. Respect appeared. Voices softened. The same world that rejects you can welcome you the moment your value is recognized. As Tunde stepped inside the compound, he realized something important.